Well, hello everybody. Sorry for the delay there. We had a couple technical difficulties here. We're going to format to the presentation here with our AppDirect merger, and just want to make sure everything was right. So, but we are ready to roll here. Happy fall! Wow, September is flying by. We're already in the fall here, despite temperatures as everybody feels. But we're really excited today. We are not only going to do a market update, a box update, we're also going to go over some new products that are going to build loyalty and generate income. I've got a special guest on the line here today, Andy Potts. Typically, Allie's on the call here as well, but she is just getting back from a wonderful trip out to Spain, and she'll be joining us again next month. But with us, Andy Potts, and Andy Potts is he's from AppDirect. He's a senior product sales specialist over there, and he's going to give a wonderful presentation on two products that fit right in line with energy stuff, and it's going to open doors for you guys. It's going to generate some additional income, and it's going to build some loyalty and trust with the customers. So, because customers love getting checks and love saving money, and it's very hard to do that right now in energy. With the prices are rising, it's hard to show that savings, but we have some solutions that you can go ahead and do that. So again, first we're going to talk about Box. That'd be me today. Sorry, Ellie's not on the call, but I'll be talking about Box a little bit, give a little market update, and then Andy will join us to talk about how to generate extra income with the new products there. First a little bit about Box here. We are licensed in all the deregulated states, and then we also do business in states that there is limited availability. And that list continues to grow, but all that limited availability is pretty much just on the natural gas side, and it's for larger customers. Inquire to the desk if you have any questions, or to your account manager. Also want to mention how last year we were the ABC of the Year winner in the Energy Professional Association, TIPA. ABC means Agent, Broker, Consultant. It's a channel that we are. And this is chosen by the actual suppliers who love working with us, and the value we bring out there to the customers. Also, just want to talk about again our large vetted supplier network. We have 90+ suppliers that we currently work with. Some regional, but here's some of our larger ones on the board here, and you see them all. They're all here. Everybody who's working with us knows that. This is one of our big value plays, and our relationships with them. And pretty much every single name you see under, these are all the big ones. Every one of these, we are pretty much in the top 2 or 3 of their best brokers, #1 for many of them as well. But all of them are in our top 3, and with that brings clout and definitely better customer service on our end, and better customer for you. And then just a little plug here about the Box Strategic Solutions team. We're here to help you. Our goal is to get you guys to close a deal. This costs nothing extra. This is one of the big separations that separates us from everyone else and can make you a rock star. We develop tailored sales strategies, and it's not just really at the client level. It's about also finding ways to win deals and finding different strategies to win deals. I take and I lead my team, and everyone follows me on this, that we look at everything as a puzzle, and we love coming to work every day because it is a puzzle. It's a game we play of trying to find out ways to win deals. So with that, tailored sales strategies. We also have data-driven insights. You'll see that in a few minutes here in the market update. You also see in our weekly report. Pricing optimizations and our reverse auction platform. This reverse auction platform is a game changer for some. To win deals and to close customers and to sell it right. If you have questions on how to utilize that, again, just ping us, ask questions, and all that. Contract negotiation. We have, I've been with supplier a number of years. Many people on our team have been. Our founders were at suppliers. We understand what those contracts and how they're heavily unilateral in favor of the supplier, and we try to shift that over to make it bilateral as possible. Again, that extra level of service that we provide ultimately to the customer, and when it's provided to the customer, it makes you as the agent, broker, consultant shine. And next up, really just a seamless client support and proactive solutions. Again, nothing tops us. We are not just a technology company. but we have incredible technology behind us, but we have that human touch, and that's what separates us, and that's what really our strategic solutions team provides. So with that, I'm gonna take a deep breath and a drink of coffee, and I'm gonna move on to the market update. And again, I just want to emphasize as well before we get into this too much, and what we talked about before, we'll be talking about when Andy comes on. Any questions, feel free to send them over through the webinar. We probably won't have time to answer really them at the end, and but we do answer them pretty much within 24 hours afterwards. So send them through, as well as just a PDF you can pull from there as well. If you want to look at it and pass it along, feel free. And we have any other questions even after, if you get a chance to answer them, send them to your account executive, and we'll get a hold of us and we'll be able to answer those for you. So, moving on to market update. Pretty mild last month here. Nothing huge in the movements. Gas was up 6 cents. That's marginal. That's a day's worth of range. Everything is pretty much a day's worth of range, except for Texas. Texas was up 233 last month. Again, that continues to high fly. Again, these are on peak hours, pricing for on peak hours. Customer price may vary depending on utility and load shape, but yeah, Texas moved up. Again, it's the euphoria over the data centers coming in there and a large load, amongst some other changes that we've seen. But we see the hedge funds are on the bid here on this, and as they were with Mid-Atlantic Power, West Hub, and other places, and they had to puke those positions out 6 months later. Well, Texas, they've kept on. It hasn't really fallen off, but there's a huge widespread going on between that and the forward prices and where index has been clearing, and we'll talk about that in a second. But first of all, here's a chart here. It's the NYMEX historical natural gas prices. This is calendar year 26, calendar year 27, and calendar year 28. And you see the movement, and we've really, since really midsummer, we've been bouncing around in this small range here, $3.80 to $4. We put out some stuff before about how $4 is the new floor. We are slightly below that. We are bullish on natural gas going forward. We think it's a relatively asymmetric trade, except for, of course, when you get into if short term where storage fills up, as we've been seeing here, and prices are getting more into that, in the upper 2 levels in the front month. And again, we want to talk about gas here as well. This is what we look at, the calendar years 26, 27, 28. This is where people are contracting, not in the front month. That's the CNBC price, we call it. That's not the real gas price that customers are buying at. That's the cash price in front for 1 month. And these are the prices you have to pay if you want to buy in the calendar years. West Hub, same thing, relatively quiet here. We bounced around a $2 range all summer. As expected, we did have a little dip here as we did pull a little insight out there in July, saying that we thought summer was middle end of July, saying summer was pretty much over, which you expect a downfall, and we have it here. Again, for these two markets, we think these are fairly valued. We think gas is undervalued. We think gas, the risk comes in all these markets, comes in October, late October, early November, because we're just waiting on the weather models to turn and say, okay, the next 15 days are cold, and then everybody extrapolates that out to where the winter is going to be super, super cold. It happens every year, somewhere along the line in that period of time from middle October to end of November. And you need to be proactive rather than reactive, because if you try to be reactive when that weather thing comes out, markets already moved. Oftentimes too, that comes out over a weekend where the weather models shift because the markets are closed for 2 days, and then bam, the markets are up 30 cents in 26 and 27. So avoid that trap and be hedged out. Your 2026 should be hedged out. Any position you have open in 26, should be fully hedged out by middle of October to 20th of October. That's what we do for all of our clients that are on hedge products. We try to hedge out 26 fully by that period. And so PGM West Up Historical Index, this is kind of had some more movement here. Again, gas prices, we've got 3-year average is 41.04. And if you look at the historicals here, or the forwards are at 52.53, this is fairly valued. So we equalize this out with gas because gas during this 3-year average was lower than what the forward gas prices are. So if you equalize it out, it's about pretty fair value where index has been clearing relative to where the forwards are at. And this is a chart we've seen this. This is annual peak RTO. This is a great chart to show customers if you want to get them to buy. But you see this, and this right here, this is actually probably cleared around 160 this summer, so they cleared above what they projected. And or peaked out above that, but 5 years is we're expecting to add like 25,000, and again to continue to ramp up. These are the forecasts. This is a great chart to show customers. Going into Texas, and you see this bit here. This is up here 55, 56 for 26, 27, 28's been lagging, which is somewhat surprising. But all this kind of movement that I just kind of see in the disconnect, I just see, and then just from having conversations, heavy hedge fund buying out here, and hedge funds notoriously avoided power markets up until really a year and a half ago, when everything got involved, and all of a sudden they're figuring out how to do this and hire power traders and not even hire power traders, just get along in it and not understanding how the dynamics work. But completely flip story here. Here's the index prices, 3-year average. That is incorrect, 40.51. Sorry about that typo. And that's actually cleared about $29 in the last 3 years. So, or I'm sorry, I'll correct this. That is correct, that 40.51. The 2-year average is 29. So you basically take out this August, and the 2-year average is around 29. And that August is kind of an anomaly right now, and things have really improved in the grid. They've done a great job out there in ERCOT with the grid, and just really kind of taking an all hands approach and looking at all different kinds of energy. It's really a policy the U.S. should emulate. And battery storage has really helped peak shave this year, and it's incredible. But with that, on an equalized gas basis, this is showing ERCOT really above about $5 or $6 above kind of where it's been clearing, and we're actually slightly bearish in ERCOT to neutral. We won't get too kind of crazy. We think prices will eventually kind of come off, and there's going to be a big sell-off somewhere along the line as hedge funds just get weary to trade or just have to sell if there's some movement down. Okay, now let's get into some charts here. Natural gas, we're totally going right towards 4 TCF or 4,000 BCF, and we are going to be probably definitely hitting that. And if that's really budding up to where peak storage is at. It's one of the higher storage fills we may have. Record storage does not mean anything that we cannot have down movements if there's a really cold winter, we can quickly evaporate that and have a 2.5 draw, TCF draw, which could bring us down to this like 1600 on a colder than normal winter. That could easily happen. Gas use has increased quite a bit with this 4 TCF storage fill, and in fact, they need to kind of increase the storage levels and need a couple more storage cabinets. So with that, natural gas production, that's been kind of stagnant here, as and we've talked about it before. Producers have much more flexibility with their production, and they're kind of just toying with it, and as market prices show and evaporate, and there's also a lot of drill and completed wells, and this could easily pump up to 110, 111 on a flip really quickly. So it's there, it's ready to go. But for now, it's just stored production's increasing, but it's not increasing dramatically at all. And you see the rig count here definitely had that increase. This is usually a solid 6-month delay. And you see that's why they were before really production starts hitting up. And you see why this hit up in May, June area, because you're getting prepped for, I believe, the winter and believing there's going to be a storage downfall. And here's one of the reasons why is because there's going to be increase in gas. And really, one of the things, and we're going to have in our insight here in a second, we have just announced this week some trains have been approved from Plaque Mines. And with that now combined, we're expecting about 2 BCF increase in the next 3 months of demand LNG. So, and we'll be hitting those peaks if there's a normal winter in Europe. We'll even be getting up to that capacity level 19, which is about a 2.5 increase from where we are going in the last month or so. So, production will have to increase to counter that. And then a couple box market insights here. Again, Plaque Mines approval is going to push U.S. LNG export capacity to some, sorry about that, to some up to 19 BCF a day by December. That will be happening, barring any major stuff here. One of the things, though, just a reminder, a few short years ago, the market really came off quite a bit. We were hitting up some high levels, and it came off. I think market moved, and I think a Cal moved to like 40 cents in a matter of like 30 minutes when one of the LNG terminals went down, the major one. So these things can go down, and they're very highly technical places. So that's just something to keep out in the market. And when that does happen, these are great times as dips to buy. So, but it can happen. And I think there's a fire in one of the facilities. And then non-energy costs, expect out is we're going to have a large piece on this probably next month, as we've been doing some research, but some of our stuff here is showing really that, and really want to get into it, and it's a good thing to talk to customers about, is future electricity cost increases are going to be driven less by energy itself and more by non-energy charges. So we're talking the transmission, the capacity, the ancillary charges, the delivery charges from the utility. These are the costs that really going to have a larger percentage increase, we believe, in the energy costs. Reserve margins of the RTO are set at a certain level. They try to target that level when they're approving new things, new load to come on, and the new generation to come on. And they try to match it. We're kind of there. So any new, and PJM has said this, any new load that comes on, we need new generation. So with that supply-demand dynamic isn't going to a huge change. But with that, to build out all that stuff and expand transmission, distribution, generation, all these are going to lift costs higher, especially in the short term and in the next, over the next 4 or 5 years. So in non-energy markets, we expect a roughly 2-to-1 ratio. So if energy costs go up, we could see it going up $5 or so in PJM. That means that non-energy costs could probably go up $10 over the next 3 or 4 years, and the same thing in ERCOT. But this is where really, you can shine. Our ADCs or agent broker or consultants can shine, because we can show them stuff that help them mitigate those costs. There's many things that can be done on that, and including things like demand response and capacity peak shaving, which awesome. What we did is this year was our first year we put out our own stuff in PJM, and out of 8 times we called that there could be a peak, we hit all 5 of them in those 8. So that's an incredible ratio. That's something that most suppliers that do these, and most of the big Internox, all these other people, they called 12 or 13. So with us, you only had to cut 8 to get all 5 versus more, and you miss them, and you might miss some. And so we had a great, successful early first year. A little shout out to Trevor Williamson, the Price and Strategic Solutions team, for helping build out the program there. And finally, global power sector facing severe energy shortfall. This is something that it's interesting. It's something to discuss, something that's not talked about much. But we need more power engineers. We need more nuclear engineers. We're doing nuclear. These are skills that weren't sexy industries to go into and learn the skills, and now it is necessary. And there's a big talent scarcity, and with that, it's going to be highlighted, some more skilled labor competition for it. Definitely more things to increase the cost. Whew, all right, take a direct breath here. And finally, just want to say, gain a competitive edge with Box. These are just some of the stuff we put out from our weekly energy market update. Hopefully everybody's receiving that and seeing that, finding value in it. To insights that we put out, we have them on our website. We try to get them out as well through the channels. And finally, on the bottom out here is it's a customer presentation. We do these customer presentations for you. We can put these together for our larger customers when the strategic solutions team gets involved. That's for customers above 3-4 million annual kilowatt hours. We can curtail specific customer presentations. And with that, you see that broker online exchange logo. That can be your logo. We don't necessarily need our logo on there. Again, we don't care. We just want to win a deal. We want to help you win a deal. That is our goal. So with that, I am now going to pass the baton over to Andy Potts, and Andy will pay attention here, because this is really good stuff. And you do not, this one, pay attention, let's try this out too. You do not have to be experts after this next 10 minutes. We just want to get you excited, understand what these are, and then we'll have further education on it. And also, Andy will discuss this. You don't need to be an expert. We have experts that'll help close these deals. You just have to know a little bit, discuss with the customer. Hey, let's set up a call, boom, and Andy and his team will join you. So with that, here we go. Take it away, Andy.
All right, thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. So good morning, everybody. My name is Andy Potts, and I lead the energy and utility optimization group for AppDirect. And as many of you probably have heard, in June, my organization AppDirect acquired the broker online exchange team. We saw them as a very strategic fit to what we were doing on the energy side of the equation here at AppDirect for all of our advisors, consultants, and brokers nationwide. So having them in our portfolio as a first service product is a great addition to the AppDirect team. As indicated, I lead this group for AppDirect. I've got 28 years experience in the energy world, if you will, over 20 plus coming with a global energy consulting firm, and then several years working on the wholesale a trading desk as well. So that's my career, but the last couple of years I've been very engaged with the AppDirect team on building out an ecosystem of a lot of energy solutions that many of you probably aren't familiar with. So what we have on the screen here is just a quick snapshot of everything that AppDirect offers, which means that through our acquisition of Box, these are now all solutions that you as ABCs of Box can now be offering your customers as well. Obviously, we've got the energy procurement piece pretty buttoned up here very nicely with the entire Box team. From a scalability standpoint to the relationships that they have with suppliers. Again, this all kind of went into the reasoning as to why AppDirect acquired the Box platform and the Box team. So I know you guys are very much in good hands there. But my goal here today is just to kind of educate some of you guys on everything else energy related that you can be doing through your partnership with Box, and again now AppDirect, to effectively help your customers in a lot of different ways where you maybe have not been able to help them before. Maybe it was some solutions, some newer technologies, for example, that help customers reduce energy consumption that you hadn't had access to. Or maybe it's solutions that you can deploy in market areas that are regulated, where you have had historically to take a hands-off approach to working with your customers in those markets for locations that they might have. Well, now we're here to tell you that there is ways that you can help them, non-procurement related, to help you gain a little additional wallet share with your customers, but also, as Scott had indicated earlier, help you be a little bit stickier with your customers as well. So kind of a win-win scenario. And as prices are going up, as Scott was very clear on how that is transpiring here, the ability to generate cost savings through a procurement model, it's kind of hard to do. if wholesale energy markets aren't cooperating and moving down, generating savings for your customer on an ongoing basis, that's going to be tough to achieve, which means we have to pivot our mindset a little bit and start thinking about ways that your customers can physically maybe reduce the amount of energy they're consuming, and maybe approach some of these more energy efficiency type solutions in different ways. So, I'll get into some details here about a couple solutions that I want to highlight. But again, just as to kind of, just kind of reinforce here, is everything you're seeing on this screen here is a part of our ecosystem where we have partnerships and what we call providers in our world support us in these endeavors. So whether or not it's looking at things like energy efficiency, maybe that's traditional LED lighting, or maybe HVAC solutions, or I'll get into more detail here about the deployment of an electricity harmonic filter, moving over into community solar, which again, pretty popular for customers in regulated market environments to get into to achieve some cost savings on their monthly spend. Looking at a very unique utility spend category in water. Water optimization and water management is probably one of my favorite ones to talk about here, because water often gets overlooked as a commodity and utility expense for end-use customers, because most customers, A, either think they've done everything that they can inside their building to kind of maximize their water optimization or conservation, or B, they've kind of shrugged their shoulders and been like, there's not much I can do about it. Well, I think what we're able to show you here in a few minutes here is that is definitely not the case, and water optimization should be a prime solution for a lot of your customers to look at. Doing solutions in waste management. Waste management really is not that different than deregulated energy. There's certain market areas of the country where you can shop your hauler or your trash and recycling hauler. There's some markets here in the country where you can't do it, right? So being able to maybe look at waste and recycling spend and a couple other spend categories as well through our partnerships of organizations that specialize in these solutions. Again, great way for your customers to achieve a cost savings in kind of some overlooked spend categories, but also a great way for you guys to earn commission in those solutions as well. EV charging, again, very big for customers, for your customers that you might have in an MDU retail environment, anything in a hospitality right here. So being able to kind of offer EV charging solutions in addition to what you're doing on a procurement side for customers all across the country. It doesn't have to be in regulated or deregulated markets, can be anywhere. EV charging is a pretty big one. Energy expense management. For your customers that are maybe having that pain point with trying to decentralize or have a decentralized payment with regards to all their utility invoices, being able to bring that in-house to one roof with all the collection of invoices, helping with moving, changes, drops, opens, anything like that. And then all invoice payment being done out of one location as well. It really kind of streamlines that management process of the invoices. And then we get into some of those bigger projects where we're looking at fully like on-site solar, using backup generation, not just for backup now, as Scott had indicated, but maybe using traditional backup solutions, battery, diesel, natural gas fire generation to do peak shaving, because that's gonna, again, as Scott had illustrated, a huge component of the overall cost increase that we're seeing for electricity in many of these RTO markets, to solutions like microgrid solutions, where if a customer really just wants to get off grid entirely and kind of develop their own solution here where they can do that, well, we can achieve that as well. So that's just a quick overview of everything here. Certainly open to having more conversations around these solutions, but I really want to highlight kind of two right now. The reason I want to highlight these two solutions is A, they're kind of newer technologies. Deploying newer technologies to attack energy that your customers, A, have never really heard before, and B, just provides a substantial cost savings opportunity. The first one is water optimization through our partnership with a group called Exact Water. Again, I talked about it earlier on the previous slide, but this is probably one of my favorite solutions that we have in our portfolio. Most customers aren't paying attention to what they do with water. And if you take water with certain customers, you realize that it may be not as big as an annual spend as electricity is, but it's right there in the pecking order of utility expense for a end-use customer, right? So think hotels, think apartment complexes, think condominium towers, think industrial, manufacturing, medical, nursing homes, skilled living centers, that sort of stuff, or even hospitals, right? Water is an intricate part of their overall utility expense. The problem with water, though, is that water going into a building is inherently very, very inefficient, right? You have a lot of turbulence that is going on as water is going into your building, right? And there's a lot of reasons that drive that turbulence. You have pressure imbalances that are occurring inside the building in terms of how much water is being used at any one point in time. Then you also have pressure imbalances that are occurring outside the building, inside the utility system, that is constantly just pushing water in and out of your water pipelines into your building. The problem here is your water meter is your kind of your line of demarcation. Water meters read volumetrically. So as water is being pushed into the utility system unnecessarily by pressure imbalances and stuff like that, your water meter doesn't really know if you're using the water or not using the water, but it continues to read as if you are. What we are doing with our partner ExactWater is we are installing a device on the customer side of the water meter, not the utility side, the public side, on the private side, as the customer owns all the piping that is going into that building past the water meter measurement. When we are installing the ExactWater solution on the customer side, what we're doing is we're creating what's known as a laminar flow of water that is now allowed to go into the pipeline. So basically we're taking a uncontrolled open hose type of scenario, and we're taking it and making it a controlled water environment mechanism. By doing so, we are able to physically reduce the metered water consumption by over 30+% of water going into the building, and we're doing this all without impacting the pressure levels of how water is being utilized in that building. So if you're working with a hotel, it's not like we're installing this device and all of a sudden somebody on the 15th floor is only having a trickle of water coming out of their shower heads. No, they're getting the full same PSI that they were before. We're just cleaning up all the junk that is going on as water is being delivered into the hotel or building structure that is your customer. The cool thing about the water is that not only are we saving metered water on the front end, but your water meter also determines what your sewer is going to be. So most utility systems treat 1 gallon in equals 1 gallon going out on the sewer. Well, ironically, if you've never taken the time to look at a utility invoice for water and sewer, you realize that sometimes your sewer expenses can be 2-3 times even more expensive than your water charges. So if we're reducing physical water on the front end, well, that is also meaning we're improving the sewer on the back end. So it's the combination of water savings on the front, sewer on the back, that allows us this opportunity to create this huge cost savings scenario for customers in water, all by using new technologies and new ways to think about how water is being delivered into the building. Great solutions for these types of customers. Typical ROI is anywhere from 8 to 18 months. We have the ability to do CapEx and kind of OpEx lease environment so that we can deploy these solutions in the best feasible way possible for the end use customer. And the solution comes with like a money back guarantee. That's extremely important. The ExactWater team will offer what they call their 120-day efficiency guarantee, which means that if the device is not saving a minimum threshold, and that minimum threshold is 15%, if the customer is not at least seeing a 15% improvement, ExactWater will have the device uninstalled and refunded for the customer, right? So it's a great low risk, extremely high reward solution that your customers will have a tremendous savings opportunity for them as well. And again, all about helping to offset rising traditional electricity and natural gas costs. So a great way to help kind of mitigate that that pain that is coming. Next slide, please, Scott.
And you gotta hear that, right? They'll refund the money.
Refund 100%. Again, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about extremely low risk, very high reward, right? So,
yeah, we have a thing in trading called asymmetric trade. That means that there's really no risk, right? It's like, you know, there's no downside.
Exactly. It's all upside for these customers. And again,
I would do those all day long. Yeah,
and the beauty here, Scott, is that, you know, again, this is a utility spend category that is just so often overlooked, right? Everyone is laser focused on electricity, natural gas, right? They're not thinking about water because they're like, you know, it is what it is. Well, no, it's not is what it is. Let's see if we can optimize this solution, because we know your costs are going up on the other side. let's see if we can optimize that solution to create a cost savings, maybe to help blunt some of the cost increases that we're seeing on the traditional side. The cool thing about we can do it anywhere, right? Regulated, I don't care. You have a customer in Alaska, great. Hawaii, that's great, right? It doesn't matter because we can do this solution anywhere.
Yep. Yep, that's great. That's wonderful. And for those customers that could work with this is a great door opener. Wow. I mean,
100%.
yeah, imagine that. Awesome.
All right, next slide there, Scott. I get pretty excited. So just kind of a quick example, right? I mentioned earlier some verticals that are good candidates. This is kind of an example of a customer in Florida, again, a regulated electricity market, where we went in and worked with a senior living ownership group. We basically have been piloting in 2 of their locations for several months, and the results of those pilots, a 53% reduction in the water and sewer utility spend and invoices, and a ROI that comes in under 6 months, right? So this group has over 30 plus locations scattered throughout Florida and some of the other Southeast markets in Alabama and Florida as well. And they're chomping at the bit to deploy these solutions in all their other facilities since they've been beta testing this installation at 2 of their locations. As for our partner, they took home a $12,000 commission for the 2 pilot locations. And as we start to deploy to all the other locations here, future earned commissions about $168,000. Not too shabby for a new solution that they're like, I didn't even know you could do this. I'm like, yeah, pretty cool, right? So, and what you'll see here, so an average MDU multi-dwelling unit, whether or not that's a skilled living center or nursing home like these, or apartments, condominiums here, you typically see spends anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000 per month. Again, pretty significant utility expenses that largely ignored, which means it's untapped.
Wow.
Scott, yeah, pretty cool.
Awesome.
So as we go to the next slide here, that brings me to another question. Well, what other technologies do we have out there, newer solutions that we have? One of these is what's known as an electricity harmonic filter. 99.9% of the people that I talk to have no clue what harmonics are in your energy supply. Again, not that you should know, but this exists for every customer everywhere in the United States. What ultimately happens here, Scott, is that utility systems, you're there in Chicago, right? So ComEd, just as an example, delivers power across their transmission and distribution lines to a building in what's known as an alternating current, a flow of energy. But every piece of equipment that is using electricity inside your building is converting that alternating current to a direct current, AC to DC. During this conversion process, harmonic noise is now created in the energy supply. Harmonic noise is nothing more than wasted energy that your customers do not need, and it's actually very detrimental to the operations and maintenance life cycle of that equipment. You ask any engineer, excess heat in equipment, bad. So by blocking the harmonics, we're able to physically reduce the temperature of that equipment, make it operate a little cooler, which increases the livelihood and life scale of that equipment. On the same token, it also physically reduces the kilowatt hours of electricity required to run said equipment. It's kind of cool. These guys are actually founders and developers of the Tune Harmonic filter, Scott. They were actually in the data center world, ironically, and they operated data centers for Intuit, and they were tasked to fix a problem because they were prematurely losing pieces of equipment left and right? So replacement equipment and operation maintenance on their equipment inside the data centers, costs were just going astronomically high. And they knew the impacts that harmonics were in having to create this problem, right? So when they designed this solution, this harmonic filter, to fix this problem, they were like, this is great. We're able to reduce the internal temperature, decreasing the maintenance requirements on all their equipment. What they didn't know at the time, though, was that by improving this aspect and eliminating harmonics, they are also physically reducing the kilowatt hours required to operate that equipment. When they realized that, wow, we have a solution that can now reduce energy consumption and provide this ancillary benefit of elongating the lifespan of equipment, that's when they quickly realized that they were out of the data center business and the inventors got into the harmonic filter business, right? So traditional harmonic filters will reduce electricity anywhere from 10 to 20% inside a building, thus decreasing the cost. Also, the electricity harmonic filters will physically reduce your kW demand as well, right? So as we talk about non-energy related price expenses and RTOs going up, everybody's looking to try and figure out how you can peak shave and do stuff like that. Well, now we have another solution that we can add on top of that to help reduce your overall demand, not just during peak hours or during, critical periods or, planning year stuff for PJM, but, year round, so you can help reduce that distribution kW cost as well. Besides the operation and maintenance savings here, we have a typical ROI of anywhere from 12 to 24 months that we see on these solutions. Shocker, there's also a money back guarantee, much like the Exact Water, on this device as well, which means that if we're not saving at least 5%, then the customer, again, has the ability to ask for an uninstallation and a refund. Another cool thing about the Tune Harmonic filter is these devices, and you can see by the picture of the screen there, they're not typically very large. They're passive in nature, which means they're not using energy to save energy. These devices are physically installed in a customer's electric sub panels. So we're trying to be as close to the load source as possible. So we install in every customer's sub panels. Well, guess what, Scott? Customers have sub panels in every building, in every state in the country, in Canada, in Mexico, in the Caribbean. It really doesn't matter. So again, another solution that could be used to combat rising energy costs, all by deploying new technologies to physically reduce the energy consumption, thus translating into a cost savings at that point in time. So again, another great way for a ABC, advisor, broker, consultant, to deliver a new technology, new solutions to their customers they've never heard about before, right? So pretty cool solution here. Very easy to install. Takes about 20 to 40 minutes to install a device on a customer's electric sub panels. Very easy to do. Also, cool thing about this, Scott, is that the tenant doesn't need to own the building, right? So when you start thinking about energy efficiency solutions, you start thinking bigger projects. Like I love solar to death. I really am a big fan of solar, but for a solution like on-site solar, you got to own the building, right? Solar is considered a structural change to the building. Well, a lot of customers don't own their buildings, right? Which means that they're kind of left in the dark in terms of what energy efficiency solutions they can deploy on their own and receive the benefit, right? Without asking for permission from the building owner to do stuff like the rooftop and whatnot here. So the fact that we can install in owned buildings, we can install in leased buildings, because the customer can uninstall from their sub panels, take the device with them, and reinstall wherever they go, wherever they move. We have the ability to do the solution in the CapEx as well as an OpEx lease model. So we can make it structured, financially sound for the customer. So to make it happen. And again, just another example of solutions that we can deploy anywhere, and that through the relationship that Box now has with AppDirect as the parent company, your advisors and brokers and consultants now have access to this solution as well. So pretty cool stuff on my end. So I've got one more slide here just to kind of wrap things up.
Scott, yep. This is incredible stuff here, because really the way I look at this is, and you hit it right, talking about the solar, right? Solar, many times I think you've done in trying to do these deals. I have too. Huge lead time. Ends up, taking forever. Ends up having to be like this 20-year commitment on it. You definitely have to own the building. It's hugely costly. There's, typically, the solar developers and stuff will try to sell it, and by fixing some numbers around is huge savings. But really, it's all back-ended, and it's all has a bunch of assumptions in it. This is sustainability. So companies have sustainability stuff, but they don't know really where to go, and especially now with the political stuff that's going on with solar and stuff. But this stuff is simple, doesn't really cost much, and has some guaranteed returns that are very quick. So
exactly.
This is sustainability stuff. That's just an expansion of that. So you can show stuff to these customers. We can show stuff to these customers that are completely something they never have heard of before and never even thought of before. And this is great. And national accounts, it's great because you can just say, like, hey, let's just test out a couple sites. We'll show you the savings, then we'll expand out to your other 200 sites. So
we do pilot programs all the time for these type of enterprise customers where they have 50 locations, but it's, hey, let's get 3 or 4 under our belt and let's prove this out to show you that it works, and then work with you guys on what a full rollout might be across the portfolio.
Well, I'm super excited to hear, Andy. Thanks. This is awesome. I'll let you move on.
Yep. And again, much like we did for the exact water, just a quick example on, where we've had success here. This is one where in Georgia, again, regulated power market, right? So working with a quick service restaurant, QSR franchise owner, think Taco Bell, think McDonald's, think, Burger King, that sort of stuff. Rolling out the device to 4 locations, a 12.5% savings that the customer achieved. ROI came in under 16 months. Georgia's not the most expensive state in the country, right, for electricity. But now we have a full plan to roll out for the 60 locations that have been coming a little bit later this year in the fall time period. Our advisor, $3,600 for 4 locations, but future, commissions about $50,400. And a QSR, depending on where they're located, $3,000 to $7,000 per month. You take the same QSR and you put it in California. From Georgia, right? That cost is going up exponentially. So again, a lot of success, especially in super expensive parts of the country. Think California, think New England as well, but we can deploy it anywhere.
Right.
All right, last slide here, Scott.
And I just want to add to that too. You see that commission and of 3,600 for 4 pilot locations, 50,400. And again, I want to go into this and we talk about what demand response in here. These are actually pretty large commissions. This is much better than demand response. But what I'm getting to is this, is like those commissions, it's not just the commissions here, it's the commissions on probably, I would say half the customers that you open a door with this on, you're gonna likely probably get their procurement business too. So don't just look at it as like, yeah, this is great for your customers, you can spend, but for new customers, you're gonna open the door, you're gonna show them some savings, show them something different. And I bet you half those customers, you'll end up getting their procurement business as well, which is going to even exponentially increase that even more. So that's why this is very important to pay attention to this and get going on it. So go ahead, Andy.
So just a real kind of a high level overview of kind of some minimums that we want to be aware of. Like if we're talking with Exact Water, right? Exact Water is not going to be for every customer. If you have a customer and they own a building and there's one restroom in the building and they're spending, $500 a month of water, is this going to be a good candidate? No. Could we do it? Yeah. But the ROI would just be absurdly long, right? So what we're looking here is to try and find customers that have a minimum annual spend about $30,000, right? That's not substantial when you start consider what a lot of these customers do from a water standpoint. In order to get the process started, shocker, invoices, right? Much like you do in the energy procurement world, invoices are key in order for us to evaluate what the customer's water load looks like historically, and seasonality is important. It's also important for us to get into the devil of the details, right? We want to see which charges on the utility invoice that we can actually impact by metered reduction. If half your bill from your water and utility provider organization is fixed charges, that doesn't matter if it's you're using 0 or 1 million gallons a month, we can't impact that number, then we're not taking that number into consideration when we're doing the analysis, right? So we're looking for the variable cost components. That's why getting access to the actual invoice, extremely important, right? So 12 months of recent water and sewer invoices. When we're talking about tune, what we really want to do is we want to limit this to customers that are spending at a minimum of about $3,000 a month in electricity at a single site, right? If a customer is spending $500, could we install tune? Yeah. Is it really going to be a good fit for everyone's time and effort to make that happen? Nah, probably not, right? Difference here is if we're working with an enterprise account, right? So maybe they have multiple locations. They have 20 locations, but they're all spending $1,000 a month. Maybe it's a nail salon or like a tanning bed parlor, just something like that, right? Single site location is not going to rock the boat, not going to move the needle. But when you start to aggregate those spend together and you start to aggregate the volume of energy consumption together, you realize that it's a nice little account for tune if we can look at it in an aggregate as opposed to just a single site. So something to keep in mind, that we're trying to see customers with a minimum site spend of $3,000 or an aggregate spend of $10,000 per month, multiple locations. And again, much like Exact Water, we want the 12 months and most recent electricity invoice for analysis purposes. When we're talking again about verticals that apply to both solutions, just some examples again: commercial properties, hospitality, industrial manufacturing, education, great, especially if you're touting the sustainability angle. Multi-tenant, might be not necessarily a great candidate if you're in an apartment complex and we're trying to get into individual units. But for tune, it could be the common areas. For Exact Water, it could be the entire building, right? Typically, the owner of these apartment buildings and they they include water and stuff in their leasing agreements, right? Because it's not sub-metered. So working with a apartment owner to now create a cost savings that they don't necessarily have to share with their tenants, create net operating income improvement for those apartments. Exact Water, great solution. And again, the medical, hospital, nursing home, and assisted living, just good verticals in general. So hopefully this has been useful.
Yeah, and so that on the tune side, I don't know about the Exact Water with the usage of water and sewer. I just know my own house, but and I wish I could put this on my house. But the minimum location spend at $3,000 a month, that's equivalent to roughly around a 300,000 to 400,000 kWh annual a year. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Andy, on that. But that's about the size, and so
Yeah,
that's
huge.
That's easily below our median size customer here at Box. So this is available widely for well over half of our customers.
Yeah.
So
again, all good complementary solutions to kind of what the procurement angle is and helping control costs. Well, we want to take it one step further and help customers figure out a way to optimize their energy consumption or utility consumption. Again, by focusing on new technologies that A, most customers had never even heard about before, and B, just in a like you mentioned earlier, a very proactive way to help mitigate what we know is coming down the pipe in terms of rising costs.
Awesome. So how do we, Andy, how should we, if there's a customer, an agent through Box that's on this, is listening to this webinar right now or in the future here and on the tape, and they hear this and they're like, oh, they're super excited, they want to learn more, they have some customers that are interested, who should they contact? Should they contact their account executive at Box?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They can contact their account executive at Box, and then that can be kind of turned into a introduction to me. And I'll kind of be able to kind of handle a little bit of the overview as to what's going on, or they can, if they want, they can email me directly, energy@appdirect.com, right? So, multiple ways to kind of get in contact with me to learn more, multiple ways to get in contact with me to bring us opportunities to look at. But again, this is just all about, empowering your ABCs based on the acquisition into the AppDirect family.
Great stuff here. Really appreciate it, Andy. Thanks for joining us, taking the time and putting this together. And we are really looking forward to working with you and your team and collaborating on this and many more stuff, much more stuff here. But this is, I can't wait to get on this call and start working on this. Thanks, Andy.
Awesome.
Really appreciate it.
Scott, my pleasure. Absolutely.
So I want to let you guys, everybody know here, some upcoming webinars that are going to be coming up, and we're talking some more products. Chris Schubert, the VP of Channel Sales at AppDirect, he'll be joining us talking about like a product called Internet for Your Business, some products there. And then Kathy Walden, again from AppDirect, she'll be talking about cell phones and device management on the November webinar. And Alan will be joining us as well the next 2 months. So look forward to that. We'll be sending out invites on the October 1 here, probably within this week here. So you'll be seeing that. And again, if you follow us here, look for us, follow us on LinkedIn, and all these platforms, and the YouTube channel. We can watch these videos. You can also find all this online on our website. But at Broker Online Exchange, and LinkedIn, there's constant good stuff that is put out there, including our insights. And with that, just want to thank everybody here. Thanks for working with us. Thanks for being a customer. We have much gratitude for you all, and looking forward to continuing working with you. Have a great month, and we'll talk to you next month. Thanks.